On the eve of John Cena's final match, SmackDown tried to lock it in the hype. And when it was good, it was really good. But when it was bad, it was that WWE specialty, insane pacing, dead space, and why did we do that type of energy? We got a banger for the US title, a tease for Cody versus the Future, and enough time between matches to cook a turkey. And when I mean that, I mean breaks. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the T-Drop, the only wrestling breakdown where we just don't call the spots. We call out the chaos and the no soft behavior energy. That night is SmackDown right before Cena's final match. So everything should feel urgent. Instead, we got peaks, valleys, and pacing that commits crimes. Let's get to it. Okay, don't go down. Alright. We open with Drew Cody recap from previous weeks. And Nick Aldis basically hits us with, yeah, I tried to reinstate Drew. He won't even answer. Then Cody shows up backstage. And Aldis has a letter from Drew's lawyer saying, unsafe working environment. Drew McIntyre calling WWE unsafe is like a shark saying the ocean is wet. Brother, you are the hazard. Cody marches out, grabs the mic, and calls it what it is. Drew doesn't do the press junkets, doesn't do the fans, and that's why he's not champ. Cody says if he was the boss, he'd fire Drew. But since he's not, he'll settle for whipping his ass. And then out of nowhere, Obafemi comes out. NXT champ, Cody's opponent for Saturday Night main event. Obi grabs the mic and tells Cody, you're worried about the wrong man. Drew isn't here. I am. Future isn't distant. Future is here. And then he drops the line, hustle, loyalty, respect. Your time is up. My time is now. Cody clocks it immediately. Cena, quote, and reminds him, you're the man who took the title from Cena. They stare down. They hold up their titles. Solid teaser. Obi got a little repetitive, but it worked. Because tomorrow, as in Saturday Night main event, is supposed to feel like the last Cena week moment before the curtain drops. Anyway, backstage, we see arrivals as always. WWE is going to keep this until someone tells them to stop. But we got arrivals, Black and Zelina, Priest and Rhea, Bliss and Charlotte, Nia and Lash. All of them walking in. Danilia runs into Fraxium and Fraxium offers to keep DIY away from the match. Ilya's like, I promise to carry this title with honor. I'm handling Ciampa myself. Ilya is basically the only man on SmackDown who treats the US title at this point like it's sacred and not just a prop. Anyway, we get to our first match. This match starts with the energy of we're not here to entertain kids, we're here to scare adults. Tie up, corner strikes, chops, elbows, immediately stiff. Ciampa targets the bad knee, Ilya fires back like a man who doesn't believe in nerves. Then Ilya wipes out into the steps, and Ciampa does the thing Ciampa does best. Make it look like he's trying to remove your leg from your body. Coming back from break, Ilya tries to do a Constantine special, but the knee gives out. Ciampa presses, Ilya responds with grit. German suplexes, 2 of them, pirate off the good leg, which is insane. They trade slaps on the apron like they're settling a blood feud in a parking lot. Ciampa hits an apron air raid crash for a near fall, and the crowd finally wakes up. Damn. Took them a long time. Picture-in-picture commercial. Ciampa goes half Boston crab, keeps hunting the knee. Ilya flights and claws. Back live, the chop returns. Ilya unloads Kobashi style. Ilya's nose starts to bleed. Both guys look punch drunk. And then we get Ciampa avalanche air raid crash near fall. And then Dragon Screw, knee chaos, torpedo Moscow. Here comes DIY eventually, interfering. Gargano on the apron. Candice yanks Ilya. Ciampa runs knee. Ilya kicks out. And then eventually it finishes with Ciampa goes for a fairy tale ending. Ilya counters into a Rana pin and steals the win. And Ilya Dragunov retains the US title. A very pay-per-view level kind of match. Ciampa finally got single shine and he earned it. Ilya sold the knee like it was hanging on by a prayer. And the match told a clean story. Ciampa tried to surgically remove the leg. Ilya survived anyway. Post-match, DIY attacks. Carmelo Hayes eventually runs in. Cleans house. Offers Ilya a hand. That's how you book a title match. More of that, less of what's coming next. Anyway. It was a good match. You guys, if you haven't checked it out, because I know many people are little by little watching less and less of SmackDown. It's going to get even more or less when they become 3 hours. Don't forget, there are highlights out there you can watch. Anyway, backstage, Cassie interviews Javon Evans from NXT. He's obviously excited for tomorrow. Big opportunity for him to show it to the world what he's capable of. But eventually, Miz shows up complaining that he's not on the show tomorrow night. Evan calls him Uncle Miz. Miz hates it. And we get a match later just because of that. Nothing says I'm furious like doing your little Miz twirl on schedule. Anyway. Wyatt 6 versus Solo. Wyatt 6 comes out. Uncle Howdy says Solo's a user and an abuser. His real family turned their backs, and if Solo wants the tag titles, come and get them. They are the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, after all. Solo sends a pre-taped message to them because Life Mike is still a hazard for him, saying next week they're coming for the titles. Be ready for war. If you want to keep your family safe, hand over the belts. Okay, so Solo needs pre-taped promos in order to work, but he needs to work on the live mic eventually. Honestly, the Wyatt's vibe was working here. Solo side still sounds like a group project where, unfortunately, no one's reading the assignment. But anyway, after all this fluff, this big gap, we finally get the next match, which is Bliss versus Lash. A huge gap between these matches. Killed the momentum in the audience. But anyway, in the ring, Lash has the physical tools, but the transitions are still clunky for her. They mess up a spot. Lash still ends up outside, catching Bliss and hits a barricade. Dominator-ish thing. Bliss tries to create rhythm. Lash hits a power offense. Bliss gets the DDT moment. Shenanigans after. Nia trips Bliss, but you eventually see that Charlotte super kicks her. Lash nails Charlotte, and then Bliss goes for the sideline DDT. And Lash turns it into a last extension for the win, and Lash Legend wins. Lash offense is looking fine so far, but the connective tissue isn't there yet. She's still got a lot of work to do. She's still got a move list, but not a fight. She still got a lot to do, and I don't know how it can help. I don't know if Nia Jax's the perfect person to work with her on this, but we'll see what happens in the future. Bliss did as much as she could. Anyway, let's move on to the next match, which started by just calling Miz and Uncle. So if you ever want to have a match with Miz, just call him Uncle Miz. Javon Evans versus The Miz. This is the welcome to the main roster pace type test. Evan comes out bouncing like he's got springs in his knees. Early on in the match, we get a monkey flip. high drop kick, hurricanrana, dive energy. Miz does what Miz does best. He slows all that down, targets the arm, post him, crossface. Evan fights back with the speed and timing, hits the red dot kick for 2. Miz starts stealing Cena spots. Protobomb, 5-knuckle shuffle. Cole even jokes he's stolen everything his whole career. Which is kind of true. But anyway. High dives and everything. Look at that. Finish. Eventually, Evans counters the skull-crushing finale with pin trades. Evan hits the OG cutter and wins. Javon Evan wins. It's a strong finish. Strong showcase by Evans. And a good momentum for Saturday Night Main Event. Miz tried to do a gatekeeping maneuver, but it didn't work for him. And Evans came out looking like a future highlight reel. So we'll definitely see a good set of highlights from Javon Evans between SmackDown and Saturday Night Main Event. Next segment and our next gap between matches, Jade and Michin. Michin talks about Jade being a bully. Champ. Jade jumps her at the gorilla position during that. Then Jade walks out, not in her wrestling gear, grabs a mic and says, "Stop trying me. Know your pace." She's calling everyone out, including Michin. But eventually, Michin runs down with a kendo sticks and lights Jade up. Jade survives though. Pump kicks her, teases the table, then kills her with a choke slam and stands tall. Jade pretty much dominated her again, but we need a real story for her immediately because she's a champ. But she's beating down mid-carders. This is all she's been doing since she became champ. If it's not Michin, is Chelsea Green. If it's not Chelsea Green, it's Iva Fire or whoever is left in Chelsea Green's team. It's like when is Jade Cargill gonna have real opponents? We need these real opponents to show up and show up freaking fast because eventually WrestleMania is coming and they're gonna expect her to defend that title. Unless they're gonna give the Royal Rumble win to whoever is in the other side of the women's heavyweight championship, and whoever's the Elimination Chamber will go against Jade. I don't know. She should definitely have a match by the Royal Rumble. She needs to defend her title eventually. And putting Michin down like that is messed up. I agree. Anyway. Match. And final match of the night. Priest and Rhea versus Black and Zelina. Unexpected, but knowing to happen. Black and Zelina are tag teaming against Priest and Rhea, and they start early with the work on Priest. Rhea gets tagged, and Zelina does the run away from the nightmare strategy valid. We get some messy moments, repeat spots that don't need repeating, a couple of miscommunications, but the structure holds. Priest is the bruiser, Rhea is the finishing factory. The big moment is the stereo moonsaults, by the way. Where is it? Anyway. The stereo moonsaults from Black and Zelina to the floor. So this is the one from Zelina, and then we have the one from Black. It was a great visual on TV, but Zelina and Rhea aren't always on the same page that night. Closing stretch, Black breaks up the pin. Rhea headbutts him, but of course Priest and Rhea hits a stereo razor's edge. Then Rhea ends it with a riptide. Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley win. Decent match, but it didn't. What we needed was for Black and Zelina to get elevated, and it didn't happen the way they wanted to. Rhea wins, they stand tall, and the show ends. Just like that. Not the greatest SmackDown. As you can see, it was very hard to talk about. Not the US title, probably the best match out there that night, but what can we say? On the SmackDown eve of on the SmackDown of Cena's retirement eve, we got Cody versus Oba doing a solid promo. Dragunov and Ciampa absolutely delivering probably the best match of that night. Evan looking great. Jade is still waiting for some real direction. Otherwise, just give the belts to someone else. And the pacing of the whole show was just off. Between all the large segments, like they didn't just make it work. SmackDown, if they can't do it for 2 hours, what makes them think 3 hours is going to work? So they really need to figure it out before they go back to 3 hours. Otherwise, it's going to be very painful to talk about this in the coming weeks. But we'll see. Saturday is going to become a big one. But we'll see how this goes. But another focus that's happening, hopefully. Full steam ahead for the Rumble. Whatever chaos WWE thinks counts as momentum. So, anyway. Drop your thoughts. Who won SmackDown for you that night? Was it Cody and Oba's promo? Or Dragunov and Ciampa's match? And what should Jade's first real actual feud be against? Hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Where we just gonna have fun. Hopefully with a better SmackDown. Thanks. Damn, that was hard to talk about. It was definitely hard to talk about that SmackDown. Let's read the chat before the next segment. What's the next segment? We're going to talk a little bit about John Cena's thoughts. It's going to be a quick one because I want to spend most of my time on Saturday night's main event. It's going to be a quick talk about Cena's thoughts about his heel turn. But anyway. Let's read the comments. Back from dinner. Alright, Rice Guy. Really like he is the reason why it's unsafe. I mean, Drew knows how to play a Karen role heel if he wanted to. He's gonna be mean, but when it's his time, he's like, oh no, it's unsafe. Drew is a really good heel right now. Guys, Drew's match with CM Punk last year.